Excited to have my next guest on the program. It's Gage Young, who just picked up his first official UFC victory this past weekend at UFC Shanghai, a UD victory over Mahashete. And Gage, man, you looked really good in there. It was a close fight, it looked like, but you look at the odds during the fight, you were up, minus 1,000 on the betting odds. So you clearly were landing the more meaningful shots and, swaying the judges your way. How good did you feel just about getting your hand raised before the judges did render their decision?
Yeah, I mean, it felt good, bro. I had I had a short notice fight come up in Kansas City, and then, I fell short in the contender series, both against two tough lightweights in the division. So, yeah, man, I felt like I kind of needed that one just to, show the UFC brass that, I belonged at this level and, kind of earning my place in the division. So I think it was good, man. I needed it, and it felt good to do it in China, playing spoiler against the hometown kid.
No doubt. And with the first official UFC win too, like I know it's a dream come true to get to the UFC and then to get the first win, man. Like how good did that feel afterwards? And when did it like finally sink in?
Yeah, man, it felt good. It was to be expected. I went in there with a full camp. I was feeling real good throughout camp. I was peaking at the right time, so I checked every box. So going into a fight where you've sacrificed everything, like it allows you to be free in there. And I got to a good place mentally and spiritually, and I was cool with whatever the decision was going to be going into it. Like all you can do is your best at the end of the day. So I was in a good spot mentally going into the fight, and yeah, to come out with the win felt good, man.
And you clearly had no problem standing with him. You guys both landed some big shots, but you seemed to land the more meaningful ones throughout the fight. One of the things I noticed is towards the end of the round, you got those like takedowns that almost secure the round. Is that part of the game plan going in against him, knowing that he kind of struggles against grapplers?
Yeah, for sure. I'm comfortable everywhere in the fight. I'm a pretty well-rounded fighter. I tend to sway towards the striking and the stand-up just because that's what I love to do. I love striking, and not that I don't love wrestling, but just stamping the end of the round. Like trying to squeeze out control time. Putting an exclamation mark at the end of each round was something that we were kind of drilling in camp, and just it was something that we were keeping in the back of our head. You never want to go to a decision, but if we're gonna end up fighting for the whole 15 minutes, we need to be sure, like, optically we look good to the judges. So scoring takedowns at the end of the round, just looking like I'm staying busy, trying to land shots, all that stuff's important at the highest level. So it looks good optically.
For sure. You did have that cut above your eye early on. Is that just like an annoyance? Like what is that like when it happens early on in the fight and you just got to deal with kind of wiping it off?
Yeah, man, it was I have so much scar tissue in my eyes at this point, bro. I've been stitched so many times. So yeah, he kicked me. It wasn't like a crazy kick or anything, but it did just glance off my head a little bit, and I felt it open up right away. But like with it happening so early, you never want to start a fight like getting kicked in the head and getting cut. I think we were like maybe a minute into the first round, so definitely, put pressure on me to get my stuff going a little earlier. Like I have to get going after that. That's not a good look. So yeah, like mentally, it was just kind of one of those things that you kind of had to overcome within the first handful of minutes in the first round. So yeah, I think we dealt with it good though. I dropped him a couple minutes later, and uh yeah, I think we everybody said that the first round was close. I don't know. I like watching it back. I think I won pretty unanimously all three rounds, but there's arguments to be made. So
I mean, you clearly won the fight. I would hate to be a judge nowadays just because of like there's so many wacky decisions and you never know where they're leaning, but I thought minimally 29-28 for you for what it's worth. I did want to ask you too. I can't remember what round it was. I almost feel like it was the beginning of round 2. He landed a big shot and it's like it didn't even affect you. It looked like a really hard shot too. Like were you ever like in any trouble? Did he land anything that had you like on skates at all?
yeah, I wouldn't say on skates. I get told all the time like how good my chin is, and that's kind of one of the worst compliments you can get being a fighter. I hate hearing how I can eat shots, but yeah, pretty early into two, he clipped me, and you'll see me. I had to get on my bike a little bit. That was the first time where I'd like been buzzed enough to where I was like oh shit, like I need to get my feet underneath me. I need to start moving a little bit. But yeah, he clipped me early in two, and then there was a couple big shots later in the fight too that I just kind of took and wasn't really thinking about it. Like he snapped my head back a couple times, but there was one that was pretty early into two, right as round two started. You if you go back and watch it, he clipped me pretty clean, and I immediately get on my horse. I start moving. I look for a fit in. In the moment, it felt kind of desperate, like trying to shoot a shot there. Like I felt like I was like, oh man, I got to get a hold of him. So like it felt desperate in the moment, but watching it back, it didn't look super desperate. So yeah, man, I think it's good experience, like getting buzzed and just keeping your cool, keeping your composure where it needs to be, and making the right decisions to clear the cobwebs and get back to work.
Well, you look great in there, man. It was nice to see you get your first official UFC victory. What was it like fighting in China, like with the fans and everything? They seem to be a lot more respectful, maybe than a lot of places here in the States, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, man, they were cool. I got a lot of love in China for real. Before everybody was cool and after everybody was cool, like, dude, there were fans out there at the hotel from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. just like waiting to get pictures, and I signed so many T-shirts, and it was pretty crazy, man. I was getting a lot of love out there in China, but yeah, I'm fighting the hometown kid, so whenever I walk out, it's kind of quiet. Whenever he walks out, he's getting this big pop. But whenever I was leaving the cage, it's like everybody in the crowd was just showing me love, man. Like they were all just giving me my flowers. So, yeah, man, China was cool. Shanghai was dope.
What was the travel like? I know I interviewed Kyle Dawkins before he made the flight over. I know it was a nightmare for him. I don't like flying if I'm going to be in the air more than 5 hours. That's not fun. What was it like for you? How do you adjust all that?
Yeah, man, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still pretty new to traveling. Like I haven't been on too many flights before, and that was my first time leaving the States. And yeah, it was a rough one for sure. The way there was pretty rough. Like it was like a 13-hour, 14-hour flight, and I'm like cutting weight, so I'm like having to eat clean. I'm killing a bunch of water, like keeping my water load where it needed to be. But on the way back, it was equally as shitty. Like I was all beat up from the fight. My feet were so swollen from kicking him like on his knee, kicking his elbow and stuff like that. And then being at elevation, everything gets puffy anyway. So my feet were just they were so puffy, it was ridiculous. I couldn't even put my shoes on. They were so fat. Like the flight attendants were like they were grabbing me out of my seat. They wanted to take me back. They were like showing me off to all their friends. Like, look at this kid's feet. Look at this kid's feet. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to chill. Y'all are making fun of me on this airplane. Yeah, man. I was ready to get off the plane for sure. But yeah, man, it's an experience.
As far as the time zone goes, it's like, do you know what time it was here, like where you live when you actually fought? Because I know it's quite a bit different.
Yeah. So what's it like 3 p.m. here? It's 4 a.m. there right now. So it's a complete like switch in times. But we got out there early enough. Like I bit the bullet a little. Like I had to pay a little bit of extra money to fly my team out earlier, and get hotels and food for everybody for those extra days. But it was worth it in the end because by the time fight week rolled around, we were all pretty well adjusted to the time zone. Like I was sleeping pretty good by the time we cut salt, and yeah, so I think we did it right. If we have to travel across seas, I'll leave early the same way we did this time. It was just my first time doing it, so I wanted to make sure we did everything right. And really, we could have flew out there a little earlier because they say for every hour difference, you're supposed to leave a day early, but we were like just under that, so it's like a 13, 14 hour difference, and we were out there like maybe 8 or 9 days earlier. But I think it worked well, for my first time for sure. So we'll keep dialing that in the more times we have to do it.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure you'll be doing it plenty more as your career continues to progress. Let me ask you this about the post-fight meal and all that. With being over in China, it's probably a little bit different maybe than what you normally would go to. But what did you eat? What did you dive into after you got the win? And like, what's the normal food that you really want to pig out on after a hard fight camp and a victory inside the cage?
Man, I'm a glutton. I'm a sucker for anything, honestly. I'm with how long I've been cutting weight, like that's like one of my biggest sins in life is gluttony, bro. But no, my coach Jason High actually trained with one of the kids out there. He used to train with my coach like 10 years ago. He went to college at UMKC. But he's from Shanghai originally. His name's Chow Fang. And yeah, man, so after the fight we were hanging out with him, and he like it's tradition over there. He wanted to take us out to this nice dinner. He's putting us onto a bunch of traditional foods. So we went to this nice restaurant, man. They had like they did like some smoked duck, like, and they do like these traditional wraps with the smoked duck. We had fried fish. I had some really good stuff, and then I had some other stuff that was like a little too different for me, you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely went out of my comfort zone and, got a taste of the culture. And like, they cook a lot of weird stuff over there, but they cook it well, like the seafood over there is real good. Um, yeah, they got some weird shit though. I'm not gonna lie, but it is what it is. I wanted to, get a taste of the culture, and I think we did a good job doing that.
What is the weight cut normally like for you? Like how heavy do you get out of camp, and what typically are you weighing as you come into like fight week?
So coming into fight week, I like to be like I don't want to cut any more than 10 pounds. Anything more than 10 pounds is usually like it's kind of rough for me. But I've had like Evan Elder when they called me on short notice. I had like a 13-pound weight cut, and that was getting into the bath. So I had to sweat off 13 pounds. This time we had right at 10 pounds. It came off real easy. My sleep was on point. I was super water loaded. Like if I have time to get ready and everything goes according to plan, like, weight cut's pretty easy for me. I'm a bit of a smaller 55er, but I'm too big to make 45.
Mhm.
So me and my coaches were actually talking about like after this fight, we're like we're gonna dial into strength and conditioning for these next couple weeks, and we're gonna try to put some good weight on and kind of grow into 55 a little bit more. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to just kind of growing into 55. And I just turned 25 in July, so I'm hitting my man body, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm gonna start beefing up the right way. So yeah, I think we're gonna make 55 my home. I got a shorter frame at 55. Like I feel like I'm gonna be fighting a lot of taller individuals. So uh but I got a good game for it. So yeah, man, we're dialing everything in.
I love it. The future is bright, my man. Let's talk about that UFC debut against Evan Elder. That was in April. What are like the big takeaways from that fight, looking back on it now?
I mean, dude, it was such a surreal experience, like just getting the phone call on such short notice and fighting at home, like in an arena like that. It was I don't want to say like I was just kind of going through the motions, but it was almost like I was just kind of on this weird ride. And yeah, I mean, Evan's a big, strong, physical truck of a dude at 55. He's like he's got an intimidating frame on him. He hits hard. He throws everything to kill you. He's got a great gas tank. Evan's a tough debut for anybody. And just going out there and dealing with the pressure, you know what I'm saying, the emotions of like having a short notice call and fighting a friend, and uh it just it validates kind of like my mentality on the game. And I was at peace with everything going into the cage. Everybody's afraid walking in there. You're either afraid or you're stupid. So I was walking in there, intimidated, a little bit of not intimidated, but it's a fight, you know what I mean? So dealing with that at the highest level on short notice against such a tough guy, it just it lets me know like I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, and I'm prepared to walk head first into the unknown. And yeah, man, that was the biggest takeaway from it. And just feeling the arena and feeling the moment, it felt right. So coming into this one, I got that monkey off my back with the first walk, and I walked into this one like I was in a good spot. I was super at peace with everything, and I was real present in the moment. And yeah, I think it showed in the performance.
You hear a lot of guys talk about the octagon jitters when they fight in the UFC for the first time. I know you fought Contender Series and all that, but like obviously it's different when you fight at like an actual UFC event and there's a live crowd, and it's a lot, different than fighting at the Apex. How different was it? Like did you feel like more nerves than you normally would making the walk?
No, man, it's all the same. It's a fist fight. I kind of like the Apex. Like with my personality type, I don't want to say that because I like fighting in front of the arena. I don't want to say that I like the Apex and then now I'm only fighting in the Apex. But the Apex is super like intimate. You know what I mean? It's quiet. You can hear everything a lot better. You feel the canvas under your feet. You can hear both sides coaching. You can hear the breath on your opponent more. Like it's super intimate. It's like a smaller cage, but there's nothing like fighting in front of a live crowd in an arena. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of energy, and honestly, the crowd in China was super educated. Like anytime something happened in the cage that was like significant, the crowd had the right reaction to it. So it was cool to like be in front of a crowd that kind of understood what they were watching. You know what I mean?
For sure. What was going on after the fight in the post-fight interview when you were with Bisbing and like there was some sort of something that happened in the crowd? There was like a bunch of noise and you and your team were kind of looking off. Like what was going on with that?
Dana White and Zhang Wei Li walked in, man. Right as I'm talking to Bisbing, fucking two of the superstars of the UFC come walking in. So the crowd gave him a big pop. It was just funny to kind of, because I didn't know what was going on either. And we looked over, and Zhang Wei Li was walking in with this outfit on, and Dana's waving to the crowd, and it's like, okay, I understand why people are going crazy now.
That's pretty cool, man. Well, you better get used to it. A lot more of this to come. I saw Zach Cummings in your corner. Tell me a little bit about the guys that you have on your team around you day to day.
Yeah, man, I'm with Zach Cummings and Jason High, like two high level veterans of the game. They have a lot of experience combined fighting at the highest level of the game, and they understand what this is. They see they see how hard I work for this. They know how much I want this and what goes into preparing for a moment like that. So just to have so much experience in the corner, it grounds you in the back. You're with guys who've been here and done it, and they understand the process and they understand what goes into it. And yeah, man, they're high level guys.
Who are like the main training partners that you typically have around you?
So I'm training with a couple of the local Kansas City guys here in town. Amir was a really good body for me. He was literally probably the exact same frame. He did a good job at like showing big shots up the middle. John O'Brien's always going to be a good body for 55 just because his frame is what I needed to be for the 55 division. I'm in the middle of getting something worked out with Trey Ogden. We're gonna start getting some more work together. We have all the talent in Kansas City, with everything that happened a couple years ago. Like Kansas City was like a huge hub for MMA, and we were like really starting to build something special here. But then whenever everything happened with the situation, everybody kind of splintered off,
Yeah.
but we still have the bodies here. It's just about kind of getting everybody on the same page and getting under one roof and trying to get our schedules organized with each other. And it's we're getting it together down here, man. Bodies are where they need to be for the moment. And yeah, as long as that's the case, Kansas City is going to be where I'm at.
Tell me what you like to do outside of, train and, stay in the MMA game. Like what other hobbies do you have that maybe like the general public doesn't know?
Man, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm a big drive to the gym guy, drive home guy. Like I cook all my meals, so I'm really into cooking. I've been reading way more. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've been journaling a lot more. Yeah, go outside, walk the trail, grocery shop. Like I'm a real simple guy. I keep it pretty routine. I cut out a lot of weird habits that I had these last couple years, and I'm just starting to find enjoyment in the simple things, like opening the journal and writing down how I felt about today and what the goal is for tomorrow, or reading a book, like listening to an audio book, listening to a podcast. Like that's kind of what I'm into, man. So it's pretty mellow in my life. I play games with the homies sometimes. I haven't been gaming too much, but every now and then I'll jump on the game just to kind of get my mind off of everyday life. But that's it, man. Pretty simple guy.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. I definitely like it. Tell me, Gage, when you look at, where you hope to be in a year from now, 2 years, like what's the plan in your mind? Like where do you see yourself as your career progresses here in the UFC?
Man, I'm hoping to, just doing more of the same, fighting at the highest level. We get another. We keep putting on good performances. We'll be within renegotiation range. So hoping to be on my second contract within the next year. Yeah, getting good matchups and just training. It'd be cool to yeah, it'd be cool to just keep fighting at the highest level, man. This is all I want in life, and this is what I've been working for. So, um, just milking this contract and staying focused on the task at hand, and yeah, more of the same, man.
What's the perfect time frame for your next fight?
I don't know. I'm kind of with whatever. I'm one of the. I live a good lifestyle, man. I'm constantly in the gym. I'm a little beat up right now. My body's still a little sore. My head's a little bruised up on the sides, but I plan on getting back to work at the top of next week, and I'm gonna get my diet dialed back in. I'm keeping water in me, and yeah, man, I'm assuming that within a month or two I'll be getting a phone call. I talked to my manager after the fight, and he was asking me how I felt, and something tells me that they're gonna want me to get back in there here before too long. So I'm keeping an eye out for the lightweight matchups. I'm watching who fought a couple weeks ago. I'm watching who's fighting up these next couple weeks. There's a couple lightweights on the same card that I just fought on, so I know how the UFC is, man. Sometimes they like to kind of group these guys together. So I'm keeping an eye on all these lightweights, and I'm staying ready for whatever.
You give me a name. Is there anyone that you feel like makes sense for your next fight?
I have no idea, brother. I don't really have no names. Al Sawadi's fighting. I was supposed to have a short notice matchup against Al Sawadi. I accepted the fight for whatever reason it didn't go through. So Kareem Abdul Al Sawadi could be an option. I think he's fighting next weekend. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and maybe that'll be the next guy.
Look forward to seeing you back in there, man. Again, Gage, congrats on the first UFC victory. I'm sure there's plenty more to come, my man. Great interviewing you for the first time. Hopefully, we get to do it again before your next one. Before we do sign off here today, I want to give you the floor. If you've got, just anyone you want to thank or anything you want to plug before we sign off, the floor is yours.
I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man, just shout out to Kansas City and all the coaches back home uptown, and shout out to Sedalia. Sedalia really came together for me with this one. We put together a little fundraiser. They helped me take some of the pressure off of my shoulders. Getting my coaches up there early, you know what I mean, paying for the hotels and stuff. So Sedalia's been a huge help this last couple weeks, and yeah, man, I'm doing it for the hometown. So shout out to Sedalia, shout out to Kansas City. Those are the only shout outs I really have, man.